Hey, I think I'm live. Awesome. What's going on, everybody? So, this is Len, the Potter Stackers, is my channel, and there is a link below to buy me a coffee if you'd like to support this channel, and I could use it because I lost my job 5 days ago, and I've been debating whether I really wanted to talk about this, and you know, I've recorded a couple things, edited, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna spitball here. I'm just gonna wing it. So I'm in the backyard of the house I just moved into literally 2 weeks ago. The most expensive place I've ever been in, and the nicest place I've ever been in. And God has richly blessed me and my family. 5 years ago, we went through a foreclosure, and basically what happened is that for us, 2008, we went through a lot of forbearances and putting things off, and eventually hens just came home to roost. It feels sort of like history is repeating itself, except it's not, because if you've been watching this channel, you know that there's a video here that is 3 things to do before you start stacking. And one of those things I put on there is getting out of debt, getting on a budget, and having an emergency fund. Before the pandemic, we kind of strived for like a 3 month emergency fund, and we extended that out to about a 9 month emergency fund. Plus, we were saving for a house, and so we have probably a year's worth of expenses saved, and that's really key. So financially, we are okay, but everything's on pause right now. Stacking is on pause. I had an 1886 or 1887 $3 gold piece on hold at the local coin shop that I had to call and say sorry, put it back in the case. I had a down payment on it, and that's a pretty rare coin, and it's a very cool coin, and I was really looking forward to having it. But right now, with job loss, there's several things I need to do. One is processing through the grieving, right? Literally, suffering a job loss it's a loss. It's you're going to process it very similar to a death. And I kind of thought that was silly until I started to internalize and just trying to be cognizant of what's happening in my heart. And I realized, oh, yeah, I am bargaining right now. I'm angry in this moment. And, you know, I'm striving toward acceptance because I have job interviews set up, which is another key. I qualified for unemployment, so that's a-okay, but that's not enough to live off of, as anybody who has been on unemployment knows. So thankfully, I'm in a job market where there's a lot of demand. And so now I have to strategize how to deal with being terminated, right? And how to deal with that in an interview. And so I don't agree with the reasons for my termination. And to some degree, I don't want to say I got railroaded, but I will say that for me, I didn't do enough to make myself undeniable. And here comes my son. I'll be in a second, bucko. Don't get eaten. There are mosquitoes out here. You don't want to get eaten up, bud. So it's about bedtime for my son. So I just want to say that, I'm in sales, right? I'm a salesman with almost 20 years experience with business to business outside sales, working for straight commission. I've been very successful in my career, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. What I'm saying is that in a company with nationwide somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 to 1,000 salespeople. I was in the top 5%. And in spite of my good numbers, my solid sales record, I was let go. Not because I punched somebody, not because I chewed somebody out, but there was some performance issues in my key performance indicators that I did not take seriously enough. And I thought that my revenue was enough to overcome it. And with the change of management, I did not take that seriously enough. And so it's my responsibility. That's my fault. That's something I have to own. And I have to own that in the interview process also. I can't go into interviews lying. And if you've been terminated and you have interviews, you have to be honest. You have to own it. You have to talk about what you learned in your termination. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now is coming up with a very brief, concise explanation without bashing my company, because what happened to me was painful and emasculating and humbling. Like I said, do I feel like I got railroaded? Yeah. Could I have done more to make myself undeniable and avoid this? Yes. And so that falls squarely on my shoulders. And so you have to own your mistakes. You have to own your responsibility. But the reality is, everybody gets fired at some point. So, it's hard because I wake up every morning and the first thing I realize is I'm not going to work today. And the termination meeting replays in my mind, and I ruminate, and I have to move on. That's the hardest thing, is the acceptance, getting to that acceptance stage of grieving. But I was listening to a sermon today by Eric Ludy of Ellerslie. Great podcast on iTunes. Just look up Ellerslie, Eric Ludy. He was preaching on Ephesians 6, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. So, I have to rest in him. I have to rest in his promises that he will never leave me nor forsake me. And even if, like Job, everything is stripped from me, I still have Christ. So for that, I'm thankful. And I'm thankful for all of you guys. So if you want to support what I'm doing, I put a link to the Buy Me a Coffee thing. I learned about that through Star Path Academy, who I interviewed, which has gotten a giant response. Thank you. I mean, I got 85 subscribers from that interview. That is an important man who we should be listening to. And here's the other thing. I'm going to digress a little bit, because I talked about like the whole idea of like being, having a budget, having an emergency fund. And there's a lot of talk about the economy right now. Of course, inflation, of course, unemployment, supply shortages, supply chain issues, etc. I'm going to leave you guys with this. Take care of your own personal economy first. If you don't take care of your personal economy, the global economy will crush you under its weight. So have your own personal economy taken care of. Get your house in order. Get your money saved. Thankfully, I'm not in a position like I'm not going to have to sell anything out of my stack. I'm not adding to it, but nothing's getting sold. So, in fact, when I talked to the LCS about canceling my coin, they said, "Hey, if you need to sell, let me know. We'll treat you fairly." And I know they would. That's the thing. I have a great relationship with them. So, and that is a blessing. So, with that, guys, I am going to go and put my little boy to bed, and probably come out and enjoy a little bit more of this fine evening. And because we just came out of a big heat wave, and so now it's finally comfortable. We got the windows open in the house and it's lovely. So thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you know anyone in the Midwest who's looking for an outside salesperson, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'll maybe put my LinkedIn profile link down below in the comments also, or not in the comments but in the description. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya.